Welcome back to the Beonby show. It is just me today. There is no Brady, there is no guest, there is no one. It's just me. And today I will be reviewing KSI's new solo album, Dissimulation. Now, this has been a very anticipated album. He was hyping it up for the past couple of months, and it's pretty big. It already has over 105 million streams, and it's getting a lot of mainstream media attention. So it's a pretty big thing, and he's got some pretty big features in the album, like Offset from Migos, and some other ones like Trippie Redd, Lil Pump, Smoke Perp, and some others. So we're just gonna get right into this. So we're gonna be reviewing all of the 12 tracks that are in this album, which are What You Been On, Cap featuring Offset, Poppin' featuring Lil Pump and Smoke Perp, Houdini featuring Swarms and Tyon Wayne, I think, Bad Lil Vibe, How It Feel, Wake Up Call featuring Trippie Redd, Killa Killa, Domain, Down Like That featuring SX, Lil Baby, and Rick Ross, Undefeated, and Millions. Additionally, he's also releasing a deluxe version of his album that's supposed to come out pretty soon. It's going to have 4 new songs, including a remix of the song Poppin' with YouTuber Crypt, and a new previously teased song along with some others. But we're going to go through the non-deluxe version right now. So let's get into it. So the first song, I guess I should clear up before we get into it what the actual album is called. So it's called Dissimulation, which means to conceal one's thoughts or feelings, or to conceal one's true motives or thoughts. So he teased it a little bit with a trailer for the album on May 1st. It came out on May 22nd, yesterday, so we had a lot of time to think about it. He teased it on May 1st with the trailer, calling a YouTube video he uploaded, calling it It's Here. And he basically was telling everyone who watched it why he's calling his album Dissimulation. And basically he says he has 2 sides to him. One is the one you see on camera, and the other one is the one you don't. And then he goes on to say that he has some personal issues he's going to talk about, and he's scared to he's scared to show his other side because he's afraid of what people might think. And so you get the implication that this album is going to be him talking about the other side of him, because he's growing a character, and he's going to be showing you his other side that he wants to, because because if he would upload a video saying, I'm scared to show people this side of me, but now I'm not, and I want to reveal it. So that's what the implication is. But I listened to the album a couple times, and it doesn't, for the most part, doesn't seem like he's doing much of that. He's doing a lot of dissimulation, because it seems like there's a lot of concealment of true feelings in there, but we'll get to it. So, first song is What You Been On, produced by Jeff Gritty and Diego Ave. And the chorus on this song is probably the most annoying chorus in this entire album. It goes like this. Fuck you been on, AA, fuck you been on, fuck you been on, AA, fuck you been on, what you been on, what you been on, what you been on, skirt, I've been doing this, yeah, win with the crew in this, nah, fuck you been on, fuck you been on, fuck you been on. Very annoying, not even that catchy. So there's that. He doesn't have any, true subject matter. He's kind of just flexing, which is a little bit odd considering the circumstances. He has a couple nice bars, but all in all, there's no real subject matter, and it's kind of all just filler. And some of the lines are just cringy and not good. Like, I've been on long drives with Lativa highs while she touching my genitals, and some of it is just flat out weird, like what I just said. He's doing some flexing, talking about his Lamborghini that he used to own. He makes a reference to the prime leader for the Nigerian Revolution, which I guess might be a reference to his Nigerian. I'm not guessing, which is a reference to his his Nigerian parents. He was born in London, but his ancestry is Nigerian. So that is probably all of the personal stuff in the song. The rest is just flexing. He new chain cost $250, pumping that V12 to a new city. New day got 2 milli. Fuck you been on. I don't know what is he on. It could be some drugs. It could be something else. All in all, I don't really care for this song because not only does it not fit the subject matter of what he was hyping it up for, but also it's kind of annoying as you listen to the 3 choruses. It starts with the chorus and it's very repetitive. After the first verse, it's chorus and it's very repetitive. And then the last thing is a chorus, which is also very repetitive. So that is What You've Been On. And the thing about it is that at certain points it's pretty catchy, but once again, the entire point of this album was to not dissimulate, but I digress. And so the next song, I believe, if I can get to it, come on. Okay, here we go. The next song is Cap featuring Offset from Migos, and this was a pretty anticipated one because he was hyping it up. He made a music video trailer for it. You don't see many of those in trailer for a music video. And unlike the song before it, it actually does have a bit of what KSI promised in his album trailer. It's a melodic track because there's a lot of melody on it, and you can tell that they did something with the melody in it. It's like very kind of melodic, it's melodic. And it stands up against fake people and like quote unquote snakes in society, and that's what it is. The chorus, once again, is kind of annoying. The first part of it is pretty nice. I can't even lie, it's okay. I cannot pretend if I don't. Yeah, I can tell the fake from the fraud. Yeah, out here checking chins for the bank. That's why I can't be no friends with no cap. And then goes on to repeat with no cap 30,000 times. So there's that. The thing I appreciate most about the song is that it has subject matter that you can appreciate because it relates to the implied subject of the album. So there's that. Offset has a verse. Looking at this right now, it doesn't seem like he's talking about anything at all. Talks about Gucci Gang. Talks about people talking on Twitter and his haters or something. How he wouldn't sell his soul, ice cold, pretty Migos stuff if you ask me. And then KSI's verse comes in after the chorus, the second chorus, and he actually does talk about, some problems like all the snakes in society, as I mentioned before. People hissing, cutting their heads in the kitchen, snaky slimes, they sell out in a mate for dimes. Pay $200K for rhymes, I get $200K for the views, I paid $500K for a cat. So he does talk about something in the song, which I appreciate. Can't say the same for Offset, so that's a little bit disappointing. So it doesn't really balance out between the chorus, his verse, and KSI's verse, which is not a great element for a song because then you don't really understand what it's about. But looking at KSI's verse, you can tell that he's clearly trying to pass a message. It may not be the best way because he's still doing a bit of flexing because he talks about his $500,000 Beerus chain, but it's much better than What You've Been On because there's an actual subject and it's a lot more catchy. So next we have Poppin' featuring Smoke Perp and Lil Pump, and this is 100% one of the most catchy songs on the album. It has a fantastic beat produced by Molly Mall, Go Grizzly, and Diego. Amazing beat. It's very catchy. It's very good. It's very quirky, and the chorus, the pre-chorus and chorus that KSI and Smoke Perp did, they fit very well together. It's like seamless transition between them, even though the two have very different voices, and they are talking about the same thing. However, they're just flexing. Even in the Genius interview for Poppin', KSI was talking about how he goes shopping and window shopping. It even says in the chorus, 5-figure when I pull out the trigger, window shopping. If it look good on the neck or the wrist, pop out the black and then copping. I'm aware this is not meant to be a song with much subject or meaning, and that's why it's one of the most catchy ones. It's a very, very catchy song. You can play it at a party and, something like that. Lil Pump, obviously, with the Harvard level rhyming. Look at my wrist, Corona, my neck got Ebola. And I swear on God, this is an actual line that he said. Look at my wrist, Corona, my neck got Ebola. As always, he's a lyrical genius. So, need I say less? And KSI, he is still flexing. He says, I got a ting for the yacht, I got a ting for the PJ, got my accountant to show me my capital, and he came back with an essay. Basically, he's rich. So that's kind of what he's saying here. And then Smoke Perp has, same thing as Lil Pump, just sitting there and just delivering some bars, but, they don't have a lot of subject. But I will admit this is a very catchy song, and it's a very good song if you're just looking for the catchies and you're looking for some nice bars and good punchlines. But as for meaning in this song, other than flexing, non-existent. Once again, not really fitting in with what he implied. So there's that. The next song is Houdini, and this was featuring Swarms and Tion Wayne. I don't know how to pronounce these names. And this song is like an Afro bashment, and he has the two UK rap artists on it as well. And obviously the song title is about Houdini. And it refers to his performance in escape artist stunts, and he uses Houdini, and KSI uses Houdini's name to connect his ability to commit a crime and then disappear with Houdini's ability to escape and vanish from seemingly impossible tasks with ease. So there's that. Obviously, a bit of a message there. Swarms will, in the chorus he says, he will squeeze the trigger of a gun if you run up on him. And that's what the chorus is. Most catchy song in the album, 100%. It's not even a question. The flow on this song it's there. If you asked me which song on this album or that KSI has ever made has the best flow, I would probably say this one. It has very clean flow. It's he flows seamlessly with the beat. They go hand in hand. It was made for them. It was almost like a UK beat. KSI's verse in this is kind of the same thing. He talks about he doesn't care if you have plastic surgery on your butt. He just wants, that. And then he talks about my fourth letter getting bigger in the alphabet. If you know, you know. And yeah, that's basically it. Then he says, but she on fleek, check, booty check, breath check, money check. Later in the night she a freak, check. So that's his verse. He didn't really say anything. Once again, consistently showing he is not showing that side of him that he was dissimulating. And it kind of leaves you in a strange spot because you're wondering what he's trying to convey. Tion Wayne, he kind of says the same thing. He doesn't really do much, and yeah, he talks about doing Twitter and Instagram, and yeah, there's not really much substance in it. He does have a very smooth flow, but I'd say KSI did it better in this song. And then there's the chorus, and it's the end. 100% a very good song. And the added touch of KSI doing most of his verse in a Jamaican accent adds a lot of cultural flavor, and it's very versatile and diverse of him, and it's like unexpected. So because you think he'll rap in his normal voice, but he raps in like a Jamaican accent, so it's very like diverse, and it definitely adds some flavor. But because he's not really saying anything in his verse, it doesn't really do much for the overall meaning of the song. So that's Houdini. And then we have Bad Lil Vibe featuring Jeremy. I don't know. Jeremy. There's no A, but it might be Jeremiah somehow. Anyway. So, this is the 5th track on the album. And this track is one of the tracks where KSI has repeatedly stated he's going to be emotional and lyrical. And we do see a bit of it in this track, which is improvement from the other songs that he said he would be. So there's an intro by Jeremy, and he talks about VVS diamonds and that. And then the pre-chorus and the chorus is talking about a girl messing with him, and he's trying to like hit on her or something. KSI talks about his ex-girlfriend in the first verse, and this is the first song on the album where we actually see him go into like a verse where he dedicates it to talking about something that is personal to him, which is what he mentioned many times that he would be doing on the album. So there's that, and I appreciate that from him, because before it was just like maybe a line or a bar, but now it's, now he's taking a verse, and, it's better because of the fact of what he was advertising for the album. He talks about his ex and the feelings that they had, and then he broke up with her, and yeah, that's his verse. And I very much appreciate that he started to change his tone from the rest of the 4 tracks I've already reviewed. And then KSI has another verse, and it's not very clear what he's talking about. He could just be saying things. He has a nice bar about 20/20 vision, and that's pretty much it. Once again, not really a good added on, because one verse is about his ex-girlfriend and the other one is just kind of the grip is loosening, if you know what I mean. It's loosening, and it's not something you want to loosen, because if you have your audience captivated in the first verse because you're talking about your ex-girlfriend, then that's something you probably want to continue. He does have some kind of, you can see he like has something in there in the second verse, but overall it's kind of just an unclear message, which kind of becomes a theme throughout this album. So that is Bad Lil Vibe featuring Jeremy. Next, we're on to How It Feel. And it has an intro which says, "You the best, how it feel." skirt. And the chorus is, I appreciate that there's not a lot of repeating things. And he makes a reference to a skin brand called Olay, which could be, maybe a reference because, skin, feel, how it feel. There's that. However, his first verse is just complete nonsense. There is just nothing happening. It's a little bit sloppy. His rhymes are very basic. Team, keen, popping off, burn it off. It's like there's something there, but for the most part, it's like, That's the first verse. He doesn't say anything. Once again, still dissimulating and not, showing us how it feels. It doesn't even seem like he's flexing as well. He's just saying things. He did make a reference to how he bulks up before doing a fight or something and then burns it off when he starts working out. However, it doesn't add anything to it. And then in the second verse, he talks about taking a ride and seeing women. But once again, really just nothing new and nothing to remember. It's kind of the same kind of thing going throughout the whole song. Next, we have Wake Up Call, and another very, very catchy song. Definitely my favorite beat on the entire album, and it's featuring Trippie Redd, which is a very very popular artist. So good for him for getting him. So the chorus is very, very catchy. It's like you want to start dancing when you hear it. We'll give them that. It's a very, very catchy song, but the chorus is definitely the most catchy part of it. And every time you see KSI perform the song, he's always dancing, and it just seems like he's having a good time. And it makes you want to have a good time too, because it's a good song, and it's a good, catchy song. And on the plus side, KSI refrains from dissimulating on this song, and he talks about how he's winning in different avenues and how he's going up, and it's better, but it's not really what we kind of wanted, because he keeps talking about how he's this personal side of him, and we don't see much of that until you get to the second verse, because he has some very, very good meaning and bars in the second verse. He says, picture perfect, now that they know I'm worth it. Before they hated, now they say I deserve it. Clear reference. Back the beef, showing them how I bring it. At the beach, sipping on something different. Swimming in money, they said I'll never earn. Kicked out of school, they said I'll never learn. Now I learn to make it count. Multiply the vision and make it a higher amount. Very, it's, for what we've seen so far, it's pretty good, because of, he's referencing stuff in his past, and he's talking about the present, and that kind of is, it's definitely a little more personal for him, which is what we've been wanting to see. Swimming in money, they said I'll never earn. Kicked out of school, they said I'll never learn. He was kicked out of school, and he dropped out. And he was referencing the Logan Paul fight, which obviously was a pretty personal thing for him. Very big thing for everyone, but very personal for him. So there's that. And overall, it's a good song that has some substance. There's some meaning to it. And honestly, I think it's one of the best songs on the entire album. So there's that. And next, we have Killa Killa featuring Ayana Lee. And this is also a very catchy song. JJ raps on his legacy in this album and how on the song, and how he's managed to get past issues with people and how he has ended up profiting off all of it. So once again, there's a little bit of substance, unlike many of the other songs in this album. The chorus and pre-chorus are very catchy. Cause mommy's a killer, shoot like a rilla, so Poppy can tell me, can you handle my type? And then KSI comes in with a nice line, hell no, you don't know who you're fucking with. KSI does a bit of flexing, which, another theme, but he does have some meaning, which is what we've been looking for. Oh, anyway, king of the drama, killing it every day. Ooh, you hurting because you always throw back. And it's always good to see it because, especially on this album, he doesn't do a very good job of, giving us what he was promising. And that's the first verse. And the second verse is talking about his success. And it's great to see it because, other times he was just flexing and being like, oh, I have so much money and everything. But now he's talking about like how he got there, not just where he's at, but how he got there, because he started from nothing and he's built himself this empire now. So it's good that he's like not focusing just on the present, but also the past leading up to the present and maybe even the future as well. So that's Killa Killa. The next song is Domain, and this one apparently is KSI's favorite on the entire album. I personally disagree. The chorus is probably the best part of it, but, to each his own. And once again, this is a song without much meaning. He raps about his chains, he raps about his money, and he raps about his success. And he does pay a bit of homage to his beginnings, which is something we saw in the last song. So it's good that there's continuity. But all in all, nothing too new. And he makes a nice reference to Ramadan. And he raps about his chains. And it's not a great song, but it's not a bad song because there's meaning, but nothing too new on it. So there's that. And now we have also one of my favorite songs in the album, Down Like That. This song came out in November of 2019, a couple days before the Logan Paul fight. I can't remember. And the music video was filmed 2 days after he beat Logan Paul, I'm pretty sure. And he does have some some meaning in the song because he talks about the fight. He says, yeah, I want that knockdown, fuck up the system, make it shut down. He makes some nice references to anime and things he likes doing. Always good to have a bit of meaning, and it always, obviously more personal, things he likes doing. And so, there's meaning in it, which is good. And XX provides a very good chorus. He sings it very well. And Rick Ross, he comes in, he talks about a Rolls Royce, and yeah, Sammy Sosa, not much there, but Rick Ross. And then Lil Baby, his verse was garbage. I can't even deny it. He wasn't on beat at all. It was a terrible verse. But overall, this is a very good song. Very good beat, produced by SX, I believe. Yeah, produced by SX. And it has some meaning from KSI, not as much from the others, which is, tracks a couple points. But there is some meaning in it, which I can always appreciate. So yeah, it's just a little bit upsetting that no one else in the song had much meaning. So we're on to the second to last track, Undefeated, and I thought this was an alright song, and because the entire premise of the song was that he was talking about how he's undefeated in boxing, and he's talking about his success in YouTube and music. And obviously, him talking about success in YouTube and music is not new and not a new and prevalent theme on the album. However, because the song is literally called Undefeated, which is a reference to his boxing record, it brings a kind of new theme to the album because he didn't talk too much about the boxing before. And now he's sharing like his true feelings on it. So he talks about that. I'm a staple in the game. Staples Center is where he beat Logan Paul. And he has some nice bars about that. And he continues to talk about it. It gets a bit annoying after a while. But the song is short enough that you're like, wow, that wasn't bad, because he actually had meaning and there were some nice bars. He flowed well, and there was that. So the last track on the album is called Millions, and this is the only song on the album where every single verse has a lot of meaning to it. And I think this is why he was hyping it up so much, because it had a lot of meaning and there was genuinely like substance to it. And according to him, it was the hardest song to make and took the longest because of his exploration of close personal relationship. It doesn't have a feature on a feature-heavy album, and it's the closing track, and so its significance is like elevated. And so his first verse is filled with meaning, chock full of it. He talks about his family and the issues that he had with his family, and it's just filled with substance. If you look on Genius, it has more annotations. This entire song has more annotations than most of the album combined. So he talks about Deji because last year, in around the middle of the year, they had like a back and forth where they made like quote unquote exposed videos about each other. And it was really quite disheartening to see because, they were like literally tearing each other apart. Deji was proven to be doing it just for the fans, and it was a whole mess. You can go look at it if you want, but it was a whole mess. So this is one of the best verses on the album because he flows well. There's good bars, good lines. He talks about it well. He like presents it in a way that's easy to understand, and it's a good subject matter. And then the second verse is about his girlfriend, or his girlfriend. Yeah, and he kept his girlfriend away from the public for a while because he didn't want her to like be exposed. That's like during the whole Deji thing. But he talks about her, and he says like, I'm not easy to be around. Hard times are holding me down, and I like how you smile. And even when I make a fool of myself, still you want nobody else, and that shit really helps. Diamond in the rough. So clearly, this is a personal side of him we have not seen before, and it's really one of the only times in the album where he actually stops dissimulating. Quite ironically. And that really helps portray his point of not dissimulating. And it's a good verse. It's a great song, in my opinion. One of a good song. So that is Millions. And we're going to get 4 new songs very soon. But as of right now, that is Dissimulation. To be completely honest, I did not like this album too much. There were a lot of sloppy verses. Once again, the meaning was like, there was some meaning, but it was like hard to convey, and hard to understand. He didn't convey it too well. And it's just like it's very unclear what he's trying to tell you, except for in the last song, Millions. So, I'm going to give this album, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. Just my opinion. Because it has some bright spots, I will admit, it has some great songs in it, fantastic songs, but as an overall album, it's just missing a lot of like things. It's got the basic structure down, but at the end of the day, it doesn't have a lot of what it needs to have to be a great album. So that is going to be it for me. I hope you have enjoyed this review, and if you listened to this album, tell me what you thought of it. So this is the Beonby Show, wrapping up, and I have a very big announcement. I'm having a big podcast next week. Hopefully on Friday next week. The timeline is a little bit shaky here because I am graduating middle school next Thursday. And I'm going to have a big podcast with a couple of my friends on the topic of middle school being over very soon. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for tuning into the Beonby Show. We hope you enjoyed. If you didn't, well, that's your problem. And if you did, thank you very much. Make sure to follow me on Instagram and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And we will see you next time. Bye.